In 2010, by the ultimate exercise of public participation and the constituent power, Kenyans gave themselves a new constitution. Its hallmark, which is a point of pride that certainly makes it one of the most progressive constitutions globally, is a constitutional imperative for real, effective public participation across the full spectrum of public life and public institutions. Ours is not a system where a 5-yearly placement of ballots in a box is the high point of a citizen's part in governance. Rather, Kenyans chose a system that accords them the right to participate in the making of the laws, policies, and decisions that govern them. Constitutional commissions and independent offices, established under Chapter 15 of our Constitution, were created by Kenyans to protect their sovereignty, to secure the observance of democratic values and principles by all state organs, and also to promote constitutionalism. Ladies and gentlemen, for our part, it is time to deliver our manifesto commitments. They were the product of extensive political participation through which the people directly engaged with us and made clear what they wanted from government. Last year, I had the opportunity to engage directly with ordinary men and women, youth, persons living with disabilities, and members of minority groups right across the country. I believe I heard their concerns and their expectations and their praise, as well as their criticism of my first term. That experience was both humbling but also informative. I heard severally, over and over again, the 4 points that I have been stating: affordable and decent housing, affordable health care for all, food security, and employment creation for our young people through manufacturing and processing and value addition. My vision for Kenya is the product of this extensive process of public participation. Indeed, properly speaking, it is not mine, but rather the vision of millions of Kenyans. Public participation, I have commended it to you more than once, really does work. As you take stock of your own performance as Chapter 15 institutions, since the last time you came together, I urge all of you to pay close attention on the extent to which you have been able to implement real and meaningful public participation in your processes. Public participation is a way of operating, and I encourage you to let it be part of your institutional DNA. It is neither an event, undertaking only when a perceived need arises, nor is it a box to be ticked on a checklist merely to record compliance with the law. Madam Chair, your choice of public participation pathway to sustainable development as the theme of this year's Congress is indeed appropriate. Public participation, by ensuring buy-in by the wider public of the government's development agenda, is the key to sustain social economic development and good governance alike. That is certainly the approach that my administration has embraced in line with our 2010 Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, for decades, we as Kenyans longed for a supreme law that would express and secure our fundamental and inalienable rights, as well as establish accountable governance and to bring development to every single corner of Kenya and to every Kenyan. And let the people of this country, in one way or another, oversee, directly or indirectly, every branch and tier of their government. These commissions and offices, 15 in number, cover the full range of public life and governance in Kenya. You are ring-fenced with institutional independence, operational autonomy, and security of tenure for commissioners or apex officers. The protections are there for a simple reason: to allow you to do your constitutional duty without any undue hindrance. Madam Chair, that freedom is balanced against another constitutional imperative, and that is accountability to the people and to their representatives. And that is why you have clear reporting lines, both to Parliament and to the President. Your reports to Parliament and the President allow Kenyans to gauge your performance against what they expect from you. It would be unmindful of me not to mention that constitutional commissions and independent offices have not always lived up to these expectations. Security of tenure has sometimes been used as a shield against accountability and the uniform application of the law. And autonomy and independence have occasionally been mistaken for detachment from the rest of government. The Constitution creates 3 branches of government in 2 tiers, no more and no less. Constitutional commissions and independent offices are not a 4th branch of government, nor do they reside in a 3rd tier. Your institutions do not exist outside of government, removed from the demands and expectations placed on all of us by Kenyans in exercise of their constitutional rights. To hold otherwise is to regress to the very circumstances that necessitated a new constitutional order. No one, as the Attorney General has just said, even the head of state and government, is above criticism, accountability, and conformity with the expectations of Kenya. All of us entrusted with public offices hold these positions in trust for the people of Kenya, and we exercise the power and authority delegated to us by the people of Kenya as their servants. That is why public participation is such an integral part to good governance and sustainable development. Consulting Kenyans is not a favor or an act of grace. It is as much a basic constitutional requirement as it is a necessity for effective governance. We must, and indeed we will, continuously seek the wisdom and inspiration of the widest possible pool of Kenyans within the limits of efficient service delivery. Madam Chair, we must accept the bare facts. The state and public officers do not enjoy a monopoly of good ideas. We must tap from the vast knowledge, experience, and wisdom of the people of Kenya and the quality ideas they have on how to tackle challenges that they face in order to better their lives. I invite this Congress and the commissions and independent offices to lead and act as shining examples in our national discourse, reminding the nation of what really matters, what unites us, and where we wish to be as a people. Madam Chair, it is your duty and your colleagues' duty to remain jealously apolitical and nonpartisan, and never to let yourselves descend into the gladiatorial arena of the politics of the day. I call on this Congress to join me in the quest for a better Kenya. I urge you to join me and the people of Kenya in demanding and enforcing unshakable fidelity to the law, to integrity, and to the public good. Indeed, I challenge you, the Chapter 15 institutions, to maintain the highest standards of professionalism and meritocracy so that others may emulate your conduct and management of the organizations you are entrusted to. Ladies and gentlemen, within the Constitution, now in its 8th year, I believe we can look back in pride at our achievements in so short a time. Despite budgetary and sometimes institutional and other challenges, the Constitution was rolled out remarkably well. We did much better, I say, even than the most optimistic observer ever expected. As the first president elected under the new constitutional order, it has been my duty to oversee the realization of the hopes and aspirations of Kenyans, the hopes that drove us to patiently line up to cast our votes in 2010 to ratify the new constitution. I am proud to report that the National Executive has also been reinvigorated, the better to deliver high-quality service to the people, that the legislature is working harder and better. This it is doing both in terms of the quantity and quality of legislation, as well as the exercise of its oversight role. And our judiciary has also shown itself as a bastion of independence and also justice. Within government, we can also point to the numerous successes of constitutional commissions and independent offices. If I were to list all the successes of each and every constitutional commission and independent offices, I believe we would be here for an awful long time. So let me say that I'm very grateful for the work that you do, and asante sana kwenu nyinyi wote. Asanteni. To all of us gathered here, let us recognize these dedicated public officers. The 2010 Apex Law, a fruit of decades of struggle, aimed at achieving the vision of Kenyans in line with what the founding father of this great nation aspired to. I therefore call on all leaders to get together, deliver on the promises they made to the people of Kenya at the last general election. I have said severally that